All right, so today's project. Welcome back to Slam Shenanigans. This is our road coming into our property. It's paved. We maintain this through an association from our mailboxes, well, everybody else's mailboxes, way up the road there, down to the main road to get in. But this section is actually maintained by property owners that live down this way. So unfortunately, with all this water, we had some culvert runoff, and I think we got water on this side, a lot of water on the road, and I think this side kind of covered up there. That's why it came in. So we ended up with some issues this year. So basically started out with just some of the asphalt crumbling like this and staying in place. So if you can imagine, just that portion there is what it looked like for several days. And we have our local garbage company that comes down to at least this point, turns around. And so I started putting my cans here because the rental up there somehow talked them into coming down here. So they were turning around here anyway, so I put my cans down here. Kind of a long story, sorry guys. And I'm also winded because I just pulled up all those heavy bags that one of my neighbors put down in here out of desperation. Anyways, back to the garbage. So this week, since we haven't had collection for like 3 weeks because of the snow, I took my cans way up the hill and I put a big old sign in a plastic bag so it wouldn't get wet. Said, please do not come down this road. It is not well and your trucks will destroy it. Well, they did, and they absolutely destroyed it. This actually doesn't look as bad as it has, but that bag's ripped, so I'm just gonna leave it there. I'll pick it up with the excavator. So today I'm going to smooth this out a little bit and unhook the new trailer, which will be in a different video. But anyways, I think it'll be before this video, we'll see. The reason I couldn't get to this yesterday and the reason they got desperate and put those down is because I was gone all day looking for that. So now we're into the weekend and I've got time, and I'm gonna go buy some rock, some 1.5 inch rock after I level this out, and put it down as a temporary stopgap measure so that we won't do this. And I'm also going to address what caused this, at least in a temporary fashion also, and make sure that this ditch is running well. And that means going way up there and making sure that all the water stays on this side of the road versus this, and not down the middle, which I think is what happened and started this whole fiasco. So anyways, I'm going to set you guys up on a tripod. I'm going to come in here and just level this out a little bit. I have no idea if it's going to get better or worse in terms of the soupiness, but we're going to do that, and I'm going to unhook that trailer, hook up the dump trailer, go get some 1.5 inch rock, and part of this I'm going to make sure that this ditch, at least this section, is cleaned out and kind of made a ditch so that we can make sure that this water's running down good. Because I'm going to walk down here real quick. I think, even though it looks like it's not running here, you can see down here that it is absolutely running out of that mess, which is typical of our soil up here. If you're a subscriber, which I hope you are, if you're not, hit that button right now. See all the stuff that we deal with in the mountains. This is kind of what it looked like for a couple days. But if you're a subscriber, or soon to be, like right now, hit that button. Thank you. You know that this soil is all lava cap. So basically, even though you don't see any water there may be rock under there. So it runs, once it saturates, it just runs, and then it comes out wherever it comes out. And that's what our soil is. And the way you tell, which is kind of hard because this section is treed, you can tell if there's no trees, like up here on my neighbor's property, and there's just brush, that means that there's rock very close to the subsurface. If there's trees have roots. That means there's at least a good 4 to 5 feet of soil there, whether it's crappy soil like most of it or not. There is soil there, but up there's nothing but maybe 6 to 2 feet of rock, or 6 to 2 feet of blow-in soil from thousands of years, and then rock. Here, there might be 5 to 6, maybe more, of soil, so that the trees can establish. So anyways, let's get to it.
All right, so here we go, getting into actually some work here. So set the camera up and I'm gonna walk down and fire up the excavator. So what I try to do in my videos is I also show you some stuff that's kind of boring, because what I like to do is let you know that it takes time to do these things. Setting up, getting things in order, getting things in place to use. It doesn't just happen through the magic of editing that boom, all of a sudden the equipment's there and you get things done in like 20 minutes in a video that, you know, in reality takes 4 or 5 hours. So anyways, getting the excavator out there. The first thing that I'm going to want to do is try to clean out these ditches. And when I say clean out, I just kind of really mean direct. So the reason that our road failed, and I kind of alluded to it in the previous talk there, the water ended up coming onto the road, and it infiltrates the pavement and then starts getting into the substrate, and it also comes in from the side, and that's how the pavement fails, basically. And so the first thing I want to do is make sure that this ditch on the side here is actually directing the water away from where I'm going to be working. And then I'll try to, you'll see in the video, I'll try to get everything dialed before I go for actually getting the materials for the rock for the first base of 1.5 inches. So anyways, what you'll see here is just me kind of cleaning out the ditch and making sure that it's directed away from the road, so that I can actually work. So in reviewing the video here as I'm editing, I realize that some of you might be thinking, well, water is always going to be on the road, so that's not reasonable. But what I mean is that we have ditches all along the side of this road, and they run like rivers when it gets really rainy. And this is really a 50-year storm, so this is like stuff that people haven't seen since the 70s and 80s. But basically, we have a bunch of culverts too that cross under driveways, etc. Some of them go underneath the road to direct the water from one side to the other side, and then basically it all comes down into my driveway and my creek. So when these culverts get clogged up, the water doesn't go through the culvert and on through the ditch or across the road to the other side where it's a more downhill slope. It basically comes up on the road. And so you have not only just surface water from the rain on the road, you have all of this rain that's collected in the ditches that's running down the road. So you have an excessive amount of road or water on the road, and it will find a way down any little crack. And then once it does, water just does what water does, and it erodes things. And that's how this road failed. So in case any of you don't know excavators, what I'm doing here is I'm kind of putting the bucket down and unweighting the tracks just a little bit, and then you basically use the tracks to go forward and backwards on opposite sides at the same time while you're using the house rotate, and basically that makes the entire unit turn very in its own radius, basically, if you will, with very little ground pressure. So it's a way to turn that thing immediately without tearing anything up, because if you just basically didn't do anything with the house or the bucket unweighting the house and you try to turn, there's a lot of pressure on those tracks. And so now basically what I'm doing is before I go for the first layer of 1.5 inch rock, what I'm doing is trying to track and level this in so that my neighbors can actually get out, because we have several families below me that literally they emailed me and said, Jim, we can't even get out in our four-wheel drives, which you could, but they have lower clearance four-wheel drives, so they're pretty worried because this was really a mud pit the day before this. It actually looks quite better now than it did in pictures. Just it's hard to see how deep and soppy it was. I mean, if this was ground what we call pumping, basically when you put any pressure on it, it's like a wave. There's so much water in it, and you can kind of see here that on this side it was really still wet. So as I'm trying to somewhat compact it in with the excavator, which, you know, it's not a fantastic compactor, but it's very even, because those tracks spread out the weight very well, even though it's a very heavy excavator. It's almost 12,000 pounds. It still will just, you know, the more you track on it, the more it kind of works it up and makes it soupy. So there's a point of diminishing return here. So in a minute, what you'll see me do is I'm getting to the point where I'm realizing it's not really gonna do any better for the cars getting out. So I'm gonna try and grab some, I'm air quoting right now, relatively dry dirt from off the side here, and mix it in with some of this mud to try to get something a little bit better. So when I leave to get rock, people can actually get in and out and not have to deal with a mud bog. And you can see how much that thing slides just on the pavement there, because it's just, the mud is is nasty. I think this next pass or two is where I'm like, okay, I'm done with this mess. I got to put some dirt in here. So a lot of times when you're doing kind of just tracking back and forth, you can just keep your house in one position and not have to rotate it around when you switch directions. But what I'm doing is, because I haven't coned off the road yet and haven't told my neighbors that I'm blocking it, I'm watching out for cars, because I don't want to back into a car and not see it. The other thing, if you're paying really close attention, you'll see on my right-hand side there's some black, and it's not tint. It is actually black plastic that I'm using to keep the weather out, because I had a tree come through my cab and some other very mountainous work that I was dealing with. But anyways, yeah, this is where I'm going to leave it until I go get some more materials and go from there. Well, it's kind of round one. I had to go get some rock. So just in the time since I've dug this, look at how much water's built up. So what we got to do is get the water out of here to prevent this from happening. So I think I got to redo this entire ditch all the way up. So here I'm showing you the loader that is at the new quarry that I went to get this 1.5 inch, because the quarry that I normally go to only has 1 inch. And what I'm showing you here in the video is that this guy loaded me pretty much one-sided. And I actually asked the dispatch gal, I said, do you guys not like little guys with trailers? Because he kind of loaded me off to the side here. You know, I didn't know if that was on purpose or not, but if you know dump trailers, you cannot dump very well with this. It puts a tremendous amount of pressure on your scissor lift. So what I'm showing you here is that I'm going to take my excavator and I'm actually level this load out of here a little bit, And when I say level, I mean just push from one side to the other so it's even. So that when I do lift this up, it doesn't put all that stress on my side stress on my scissor lift. But anyways, yeah. She said, well, they try to load us, but you know, being a brand new guy and in a pickup, not a dump truck, not a commercial vehicle, not a bottom dump, not a big, you know, 10-wheel or 3-axle or 4-axle trailer truck, I kind of was like, maybe they don't like me. So I'll work on getting to know them. One thing I don't have is that new Corey, they talk on CBs, so if I could do that, maybe I can be a little bit more personable with the operator and ask him nicely to center my load for me. Because if I didn't have an excavator, this would be a major amount of shoveling just to try and dump this out without destroying your trailer. All right, so keeping in with my theme of showing you guys all the ancillary work that it takes to get a job done. This is me just going up with my tractor and grabbing my grading bucket and my cones, which I probably could have grabbed my grading bucket when I walked the excavator out here to the main road to do this work, but you know, the tractor's a lot faster, so rather than walk the excavator back and grab it, I just threw it in the bucket of the tractor and threw some cones on here so I can block the road off. And I'm just kind of showing you that it takes a lot of work and a lot of extra stuff just to get some sort of task done. So when y'all see this, see a lot of videos that just, you know, they cut out all the extra stuff. There's a lot of time that goes into this. You know, a lot of people talk about how much time it takes to edit, which it does, but what they're not really showing you is all the setup work. So I try to show some of that in my videos. So again, to hammer that home, my excavator does not have a quick disconnect. When I bought this thing, it was like super hard to find even the excavator. So this is all a manual disconnect and couple, and sometimes it goes really well. Sometimes it takes me 20-30 minutes just to change it out. And this is where I need to apologize because with my camera recording this stuff, you know, I'm always saying, you know, I need to get up over 1,000 subscribers so I can get better equipment. Ran into a new problem, which was basically the camera ran out of storage. And so when I was hitting record on time-lapse or videos thinking I was going to show you all this stuff and grading, I completely lost all of that. And because it would start and I'd get my equipment and start doing things, and then all of a sudden I'd go back to the next thing and it was off, so I never knew how much I recorded. But anyways, I missed all of the grading of the muck out of there so that I could make some room for this 1.5 inch. And if you can't see it real well, there's a big pile of what I took out in the right there. This is my neighbor came by and we were actually looking at how the road failed a little bit further up the road there. With the water getting in and just crumbling the asphalt. Like I said, this is all the 1.5 inch down, and now I think I've got my trailer back. No, that wasn't back yet, because this is my normal quarry where they loaded me up with some road base. Now I'm back. I'm getting ready to dump the road base down. The water's flowing on the left there. You can see I missed the road base dumping because of the camera. Which must be my phone, but the road base is sitting there ready to spread out.
Well, I just discovered that my phone was full memory-wise, so all my time lapses and videos that I thought I was getting, I don't think I got it all. So when I go to editing, I'll figure this out, and either this will be a weird clip or it'll make sense, because all I'm going to show you is a bunch of pictures of before, during, and after the road repair. Anyways, this is where we're at now. I got all the 1.5 inch spread, and I just dumped a load of road base. So here we go.
All right, so now we're getting towards the last task of the temporary fix until we can get together as a group of neighbors and decide how we're going to have this repaved by somebody else, because I am not a paver. I can build roads like this. Repairs are not fun. I'd rather build a new road because these are never good. And I also don't have a compactor yet, which is on the list of things to purchase. But I did the best I could with the excavator here, and what I'm not showing is that I'll also be doing that with the tractor. Because the tractor is actually a much better compactor than the excavator, the tires put a lot more pressure on the ground than the excavator, which actually spreads it out. But and then here's the final lineup, kind of the construction lineup, if you will. A couple pieces of equipment, support equipment. But anyways, I really appreciate you guys watching, and hope that you like this content. And if you do, please hit that subscribe button. I'm trying really hard to get up over 1,000 here in the next few months, because what I want to do is get some better equipment in terms of recording videos and editing the videos so that I can provide better content for you. So again, thanks for watching.